second. Oh, it's an ad. Okay, well, what's up Twitch? What's up YouTube? Let's get this on here. This is BrackCast number 88. And we have Deji here again. And me, FJ. Trying to get back on track with doing these weekly, so it's nice to be back again this week. Deji, how you been, man? Haven't seen you in a little while.
Yeah, man, been up and down, you know, just out here.
Out here.
Preaching the good news.
Preaching.
Spreading the gospel. Trying to do what's right for these people.
What have you been up to, man? What have you been focused on lately, you know?
It's like a lot of, been working with a lot of music-related stuff, I guess, is mostly where my attentions have been diverted. There's an artist that I'm working with right now. She's got some stuff coming out next week, so we've been busy getting the promotional material ready for that. And then the fire pit, of course. And then I'm actually going to LA on Monday to go do some networking for a couple days.
Nice, man.
So
for
all
music
about.
related.
Yeah, man. Trying to be out here, bro.
Networking for your own personal kind of music or producing for others?
Bit of both. Bit of both, you know.
Nice.
Trying to see what they're saying over there in the City of Angels. So yeah, I'm going with my friend Ken on Monday, from Monday to Thursday.
Is this what made you think about some upcoming fears you might have to face, or no?
I mean, I guess that's interesting you put it that way, because maybe in a sense it is kind of related. Okay. You know, I guess like you hit a certain point where you find yourself in a bit of a repetitive cycle.
Okay.
You know, so I think I kind of hit that point a little bit. And
like plateauing or what?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And then, you know, people always say a way to get over that is to do something that's like scary to you, you know, to kind of just break that routine. And so it's been a while since I've traveled and like taken a risk, because, you know, I'm still trying to get my like financials right. So maybe I shouldn't be spending the money I just spent, but it's like, you know what, fuck it.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, and it's like just go out there, see what happens. It's like a week, so, you know, just kind of take that leap.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, man.
So
but
yeah.
But I was gonna more so say the topic itself is more so related to that Mike Tyson comment. But yeah, it's kind of coincidental. It kind of ties into that trip as well.
Yeah. Chat just said, Nabs just said, "Fuck it, my dog. You only live once."
Yeah, man. Just gotta go do it.
Thanks, Nabs.
Gotta get it done, man.
Okay, thanks, so man. you saw Mike Tyson's quote. You wanna read that out? That's what's inspired the topic today.
Yeah, it was this podcast where it's called Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about, when I used to go over the ring, I used to be scared. I used to be scared before I got in the ring, you know, because I used to get bullied when I was a little kid, you know, so I used to fight out of that. So when I get in the ring, I'll be scared, but the closer I get, the less scared I would get, you know. But all I really wanted was love. But you know, the opposite of love is fear. And I was like, oh shit, that's kind of deep. Because I always thought the opposite of love was hate. And then he was like, yeah, the opposite of love is fear. You know, so closer I got to the ring, the less afraid I got. By the time I got in the ring, I felt invincible. I was like, oh shit, this guy's crazy.
Okay, yeah, there's a bit of depth to what he's saying there. I mean, I don't completely agree with it in like maybe a literal sense. Well, you know, most people would think, yeah, the opposite of love is hate. In a way, it is like, yeah, an antonym. Like when I looked it up, I was just trying to see what, like, in formal terms, how people describe the opposite of love or the opposite of hate. And yeah, they are the antonyms of each other. Fear is, I think, just I don't know. Okay, well, what's your take on it first? Like, why do you agree with
On
that?
fear?
And by the way, chat is both Nabs and Mike are very impressed with your Mike Tyson impression.
Yo, man, that guy has the greatest voice ever. Um, sorry, what was your question again just now?
So, like, why do you agree with it? And is saying that you could tell he did go through therapy. I agree with that too. But
Why do I agree with it? I guess because like you hear a lot of. I think about like rulers when they're faced with the decision. Oh, would you rather have your subjects love you, or would you rather have them fear you? You
right,
know, I think about that a lot because like that is a very even in a regular job position like as a supervisor, would you want your the people you supervise to like love you or kind of be like afraid, intimidated by
yeah,
you, right? Not necessarily hate you because
yeah,
there's not that level of like depth or connectivity to you to like dig that deep into like the hate emotion, I feel like.
hmm,
So I think that's also an interesting parallel that could exist with like love and fear, right? Like depending on the relationship of the two.
okay.
Um,
Can you answer your own question?
uh, wait, in terms of
Would you rather have your
love or fear?
your I guess subjects is a word.
You know what? I think it depends.
Okay, it's a nuanced
You
thing.
know, I think it depends. If I had to pick, obviously it'd be love, right? Because I think just as a benevolent, I would like a situation to be benevolent if possible. But I think sometimes like having people fear you is actually quite effective, because if
Yeah,
they love you, they might just kind of like, oh, whatever, you know.
yeah. There's
So,
leniences with assumptions of what love could be in that kind of relationship, but I don't think those two are mutually exclusive. I think you can have both. I think you can have
true, yeah,
subjects or employees or whatever it is that you might be leading. If you're leading a team, but you are designated the leader, yeah, they can love and adore you because they respect you for like your accomplishments or like how much faith or confidence they have in you. But they also have to understand too that if there's something expected of them or like there's a sense of responsibility on their part, that failure is kind of like it's not an option. Like you gotta
yeah,
pull your weight too, because then well you don't want to let down somebody you love. There's fear in that too, right?
yeah,
Not
yeah,
maybe just the
exactly.
fear of being punished or the fear of like yeah being reprimanded for failure, but like you just don't want to let somebody that you love down.
Yeah, it's like it's a deep disappointment within oneself, because their opinion of you is like you place a lot of weight in their opinion of you. So when you let them down, it's like, oh man, I suck.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Do you
um,
find yourself okay? That's a good that's a good kind of example because I can think of times when I was under someone else's authority, and I can think of
okay.
times when I was authority. You know, um, do you have like examples maybe where you can compare the two?
Where I was, hmm. So I mean, yeah, obviously, like right now, I have bosses and I'm people's boss.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like it's a very like dual experience that I'm having like in real time. Um, so I guess like from my end as a leader, it's more about just like the organization that I work in is based on kind of like results and like productivity and like making sure people are kind of getting things done. So
yeah.
I think I need a little bit more of a higher like fear threshold to love threshold. You know what I mean?
Between
Whereas
oh, you mean because you deal with both?
yes.
Okay.
Well, hold on, let me see if I can break that down a little bit more. So say like it was like a non-profit organization where you guys are just like giving out treats to the community and it's like hunky dory at work and everyone's cool, but you have like a supervisor. Maybe your supervisor is like a really chill guy and like he understands, oh, everyone's like kind of dealing with stuff, so he's like super super lenient, right? That would be like way more of like a love to fear ratio, because I
Okay.
feel like employees would all be just kind of chill or whatever. Whereas my workplace, yes, it is like for the benefit of others, but there are also like stakeholders that we are responsible to.
Yeah.
So it's like we have to make sure that we meet those like deadlines or quotas or whatever. So even though the love is there because we value our employees, like we also have like stakeholders, so we gotta like be on our employees type thing.
Hmm.
So like as far as me in a supervisor role, that's what it's like. Now me as like, and then this is like, I hope I'm not ranting too much. Like me now having bosses, I feel like there is just a lot more like, you know what? I think it's about the same. Now that I think about it, because my job is also like not like they could also fire me if I start fucking up.
Yeah.
So it's like I think it's actually the same. Like there's also a high level of respect there, but I also have to make sure that all of my T's and I's are dotted, or else like I'll be under the gun very very fast.
Yeah.
So you know what? It might even be like low key higher.
Okay. I
you
I
know.
would say like
So anyway, yeah, that was a lot.
function wise, like let's say productivity. Uh, you know, I feel like if I'm the person working under somebody, and I fear that person, I'm doing my work, my responsibility out of so my performance is going to be based on my fear of my authority. I don't think the result would be as good as if it was out of love. Like, because if let's just say I respect and love my authority, but the fear aspect isn't like to let them down, but it's to let myself down. Like I don't want to do a shit job because I know what I'm capable of. So it's more like a personal thing to work with. If you're
Okay, I see what you mean.
operating, like you don't have to. I don't have to do it in just because I'm gonna get punished by my authority. I just sure I might love. You might want to use the word love or respect my boss or whatever, but like I want to do let's say a good job out of my own kind of self evaluation. So then I feel
Hmm.
like the product the product itself end product is better, performance is better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. That no, I agree. I think yeah, that does tie into like fear of letting yourself down, I guess.
Yeah.
So hello, Tom.
Tom, we're talking about fear today. It's kind of like a
Would you
general
rather?
broad topic, but yeah, go ahead.
Do you have people that work under you, Tom?
No.
Have you had in the past?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I had sure, yeah.
Would you would you say they more so like respected you or feared you? Or
Respected.
okay.
I didn't. I never played the. I was never that. I was never like my bosses.
Mm.
You know. Never had
Oh,
that.
so your bosses were
I
like,
I never feared my bosses because I thought the bosses always had a job to do. Um,
mm,
like if I had people below me, especially like let's say in the last 2 years when I was training other people in the lab and stuff like that, especially some of the new people, I just played the straight out game how it was, not to be like
mm.
this. It's never one of those people that walk around like that, all high and mighty. Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes people don't like it that I was straight up with and how reality was, especially when it comes to like sales. Like it was one of those people had like I used to be a top salesman when I was working at like Bell. And you know what? I got sick of it because I got cheated out of a fucking all expense paid trip. The people who cheated, they still got to go and then got reprimanded later. So I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing this shit anymore. So I started training my way. So an example of how I would train people, because you know how it is in sales, it's cutthroat. Everyone knows about the Bell Rogers, right? They're always about sell, 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 sell. And What happened? Did I lose you guys there?
No, we're
No,
here.
we're still here.
Okay, so what happened was I would give, everyone had to make metrics every month. You're either in the green or the red, and there's like maybe 5 or 6 specific metrics, post sales, upgrades, internet, tablets, all kinds of shit. But 3 of them counted for a lot more than the others. So I always focused on those. So, I always was, especially with some people, I'd be like, you guys have been to the mall, right? Let's say you've walked into a Rogers or any store, right? And then you got people, coming saying, "Hi, how's it going?" kind of thing at the door, right?
Yeah,
I'm just
Because
like,
they're
oh,
always
leave me
trying to
alone.
get a
Go away.
sale or
Huh?
something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And I don't blame people for doing that. What I usually do is tell people like, yeah, I'm just taking a look. If I need anything, I'll come ask you. And most people will leave you alone if you say that because they'll come ask you.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll tell the new people like, and we're gonna get all racial up in this shit right now. This is how sales are.
Oh shit.
But let's say 3 people walk through the door at the same time. You can't help all 3,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
You can't. So I'll tell people like, you got to pick your pony. Which pony you think is gonna give you the best sale?
Oh Jesus.
So if let's say a white man, an Arab man, and an Asian man walks through the door at the
Oh
same
my
time,
God, what are
which
you
one are you gonna go to?
Well,
Right? You'd be like,
obviously you're gonna, yeah, you make a judgment based on who you think
on your on
you'll
your
close the
previous
sale.
sales experience.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, who you gonna pick, Noy? Are you gonna pick the white man, the black man, or the Arab man or the Asian man?
yeah. I don't think it's
I
just
mean, you
about
can't
the
help them
race. It's how
all.
it's how they
Oh,
present
it's not.
themselves too. It's also how they present themselves.
It's
So
all about that. But like a lot of the times, it's just like sometimes you're gonna see these guys like every day. So like not all customers are equal. Just stuff like that. Little things. Like the customer is not always. That whole thing about the customer's always right. But we all know that they don't go by that theory anymore because
yeah,
damn man,
no,
they're not always right because that
that's
means we're
so
all
yeah, that's
wrong.
so gone now. Yeah, I don't think that
That's
sentiment is
but that used to
actually
be a
held up
thing years
anymore.
ago, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Most
I
because people
mean,
used to be
so like
sensible.
I
Now people too woke.
like I don't think you should be scared of especially bosses. Like I know a lot of people are scared of bosses, but I don't think you should be. If
But
you
I
if
think
you
it.
are scared of your boss, then there's something wrong with you.
And there's
Like
But
also
there's
I think
something
it's
I
because
wrong
think
you're.
there's
there.
something
You're.
wrong with the boss too. Like honestly, like the yeah.
There's a connection there, and you got to figure out what's going on.
I think.
But like, so, I mean, it
Like a
depends for
tyrant
sure.
king,
But
like King Joffrey. Like yeah, you
yeah,
fear
but
that guy
you think
because he's
you think Tyrant Kings can get away with a lot? Yeah, Tyrant Kings can get away with you know, they don't last too long for the most part. Unlike Tyrant Kings these days, especially the way the world works with all this.
yeah.
Everybody's watching now, and everyone's posting shit on media. Everyone's saying shit about everything. You could put something about somebody's not even true, and it's already over.
Okay,
So
okay, okay. We're
I don't
I
know.
think
deviating a
the.
little bit from topic, a little bit here.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say real quick. I think the boss fear is tied into the loss of employment
Yeah, yeah,
because it's like that's your livelihood, right? That's how you like pay your bills, and once you can't pay your
Yeah.
rent, that's a whole bunch of different fears that
well,
pop up.
okay,
So
okay. I'd like to bring it back to like the basis, and then we
hmm
can expand on, I guess, the different kind of things we
should
face
we
with fear. But yeah, what?
should we talk about the 4 different types of fear first?
Sure, yeah. You got that.
Let me just read this here.
I was gonna tell you first that when just how it's defined, fear is is a rational emotional response, usually to danger. When we have our when we perceive something that could endanger us, whether it's our safety or harm, fear is a rational emotional response to that. But a phobia, apparently, like if you have like that's an irrational fear, is a phobia, when you are afraid of something with no actual reason. It's just kind of like programmed in you, like arachnophobia or something like that. But yeah,
Hmm.
so those are the what I
Is a
found out earlier.
phobia? So you said ephobia is
Irrational.
irrational fear.
Irrational, yeah, yeah. It's you don't.
So it'd be like, I guess
It's
there should be a phobia for a lot of things
there's no
yeah, out there.
Oh
control.
yeah,
There's no control over the fear. It's just like, oh, I'm afraid of that. Like when people have tryptophobia, when they're afraid of like dots or holes and stuff.
I
That
have that.
What is that called?
tryptophobia,
Tryptophobia?
is that what it's called? I think, right?
Yeah, I
I
have
thought
like
that's being scared of trips.
No.
yeah, I have like a physiological reaction to that shit.
But okay. So yeah, go ahead, Deji, with the four types.
So when we experience fear, our amygdala is activated, and our brain makes quick decisions about what to do next. When someone has a history of trauma, their brain might become more likely to activate this response in anticipation of future danger. So, this response can be described through four categories: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn.
What's fawn?
Fight.
Okay.
Um, the
Self-explanatory.
mystic the mystic said anger is fear in disguise, and this sums up the fight response. When the brain perceives danger, it might choose to try and fight off the threat. This can manifest as a physical or verbal altercation and is accompanied by an intense, angry feeling. Flight. If
Anger.
our brain does not feel that it can successfully fight off danger, it may decide to try and escape, triggering a flight response. This involves getting as far away from the dangerous situation as quickly as possible. Freeze. Our fear response is to freeze or try to be very still and quiet until the danger passes. Some people with extreme social anxiety might experience selective mutism, where they find themselves unable to speak in anxiety provoking situations. Interesting. Um,
Fawn.
Evolutionary theory suggests the freeze response might be the brain's attempt to avoid detection by predators by essentially holding very still until the threat goes away. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Fawn. Fawning is a fear response where the brain decides to try and please whoever's triggering the fear response. Interesting.
Okay, that's what
To prevent them from causing
Is that
harm.
like, wow.
you know.
This response is
Fawning? Did you
common.
say that fawning?
Fawning.
Yeah.
This response is common in
Fawning.
survivors of trauma who
Yeah.
might try to avoid abuse by keeping the abuser as happy as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I
Oh,
I saw
shit.
it like that. I saw it like that.
That's interesting. Yeah, so those are
Fawning.
Those are
Fawning.
the
the
four.
four definitions.
Tricking your brain. So it's
No.
tricking your brain to think that everything's okay?
No.
Is
No.
that what
So
it
it's
was?
like
No. It's using like, it's using pleasuring the threat as a means to prevent the danger. So it's like wherever you
Pleasuring
are.
the threat.
Yeah.
Is that like a battered wife?
yes, exactly.
Exactly. Domestic abuse. Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you'll change. I'll make sure I'll make you that dinner. Don't do it. I don't
Yeah.
know. Something
Yeah.
like that. That's
Yeah.
what I came into my head.
Or they stay in the relationship and
Battered
they're
wife.
all gonna be like all
Yeah.
supportive and whatever like that, just because they don't want to get beat when they could.
They'll change.
It's,
Oh,
that seems
That's
very that seems definitely
that's
toxic, and
dark.
you see and you know it exists too. It's like it's nothing surprising
Mhm.
about that one.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
The freezing
Like
one
the
is
first two
interesting.
were pretty obvious, but I forgot about the one that you said, the freezing one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's an animal trait too. You know, a lot of animals will sit still and hope that the predator just moves on by.
Well, that's what they tell you to
Yeah,
do
it's
with,
like
bear
camouflage,
attacks,
yo.
right? Right?
Especially that new movie coming out there. For all you people out there, Cocaine Bear. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
That's
You see
interesting.
that new movie coming out? Oh man.
appeasing the
When's the last
abuser. Yeah.
when's the last time you were like really afraid?
Yeah, that's the thing, man. When I think about like the actual fear that I've had, it was when I was young. Like fear of like jump scares really got me when I was really young, right? Like anything
Jump
that startled me.
scares.
Yeah, like startling things in
Oh,
horror
man,
movies,
yeah.
or people like hiding behind something and all of a sudden just like out of nowhere. So getting startled was a very high like anxiety response for me. Sounds for sure. I can, if you mute the sound though and I watch something that might be like instantly triggered, that doesn't scare me nearly as
It's
much
not the
as
same,
the
yeah,
sound.
it's
It's not the same, yeah.
So, and I'm trying to think about that. Like, besides the horror film response, when I feel like I'm in danger, I think it's road rage scenarios where I feel like someone's doing something on the road that could endanger my life. I get in that very like fight response where I get angry.
Yo,
Yeah.
so on that, like I heard something about like, yo, it's so easy for people to get like immediately angry on the road.
Yeah.
You know, you'll literally just be driving with strangers, be like, man, fuck this guy, you know. And
Yeah.
it's like, yo, he's just trying to get to where he's going, but why is
Yeah,
everyone
it's true.
angry? And it's like
I
they said
mean,
it was something about
yeah.
the motion, like the speed of what you're moving, like your adrenaline and everything is already like at such a heightened level.
I believe that. Yeah. But
So
I
it's
think
like,
there's more so in the sense of people look at your road rages or whatever, but yeah, there's degrees of how you can react in on the road, but I wonder if some people are just very possessive of the road, or I
mm,
don't think I own the road, and I still give way and stuff like that. Where it's there's a difference when someone's more like really full of themselves when they're driving, so then they cut people off all the time, or they weave through cars and speed. That there's a particular attitude to be able to do that with all these people around you, right? Like it's almost like recklessness. I would consider that recklessness. But in the receiving end of being
Yeah.
someone getting cut off by behavior like that, I get pissed. I don't get like, oh, let's avoid that guy so I don't get hurt. It's like,
mm.
I'm like, that guy needs to know that what he's doing is wrong and dangerous. And it's like, I kind of take on the role of like, I need to let him know that he's the one who's making a mistake. You know?
I think too.
I mean, like
There's like
look at the video games, man. People rage over that shit.
Yeah,
there's
but
like
there's
a
no fear in that video game danger thing, though. Like, I don't think it's fear.
there's like an anonymity to like being in a box too, and like not really having to deal directly with the person in the other box.
Yeah.
You know, like they're like doing this fucked up thing, and you're pissed off, but it's like I feel like maybe in a situation where you both were just like walking on the sidewalk,
Okay.
they might not cut you off, and even if they cut you off, like you might not feel the need to like tell them, hey, why the fuck did you cut me off, type thing. But I think it's because like you're both in this fast moving thing, 80 miles an hour. You can't really see them, but you know, like someone in this thing is like fucking up your day. It's like,
Okay.
man, fuck this person, you know. But anyway,
No,
I
I
think
get
the
that.
road rage one is a good example of what you just said. It's probably where you'd probably encounter more physical contact with people in a situation of that kind of thing. I can't imagine running into someone and someone getting angry at me at the grocery store or someone or something like that. Or
Yeah, can
but
you?
the road rage one is a good example.
That's a
they would
good.
have to do something really fucked up.
That's a good question, though. I am curious. I
Yeah,
was thinking about that earlier. I would like you guys to answer it. Like, what is the last? When is the last time you actually genuinely felt fear? And I'm not.
Yo,
There's other stuff too about fear of like. I
I
meant to
could.
say
The only
like
last
a
time I
very
know is
danger fear,
high
not
school, high
emotional
school,
fear of
high
like
school,
fear of resentment or
high
fear
school.
of rejection or fear of failure or fear of being
last
High
alone,
school.
Thursday,
things like that. So yeah, go ahead, guys. Go ahead. Who wants to go first?
last Thursday,
Last Thursday, Deji. Okay, what happened?
last Thursday, son, I had to go for dental surgery, son.
Okay.
Yo,
Ooh,
listen, man.
Okay, what were you afraid of?
I haven't been that afraid in a fucking minute.
Okay,
Like I was shaking.
of what? What were you afraid of?
I had to get two teeth extracted, right?
Okay.
But my wisdom
ooh,
tooth was infected.
okay.
Okay.
Yo, at one point in this procedure, this dentist stood up and he had like big ass metal fucking forceps in my mouth, son.
Yeah.
His assistant was holding my jaw up because I was too sore to like keep my mouth like shut. So she was holding my shit up. This motherfucker was using two hands, yo, and pulling on my whole face.
And
I thought my jaw was gonna break in half,
you
yo.
watched the whole time? You weren't out?
I was awake. Like
It's
I had
local
like a local
anesthetic.
Were you?
anesthetic,
Oh wow. Okay.
but I was like, because I
Okay.
don't want to use laughing gas, because I didn't want to start saying like weird shit, like yo man, yo, don't do a man, I'll suck your dick, like just crazy shit like that, right? But like, I was like, yo, I gotta be awake for this. Yo, this guy was like, I could feel him flexing his muscles as he was pulling on my fucking jaw, bro.
Okay, tell me, question. Were you fearing the procedure before even getting there or only when you were there?
My fear of the procedure was about a 3. By the time this guy was pulling my face off, like it was a straight 10. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Oh, you thought you thought you would die. You actually were fearing
I
death.
thought my jaw was gonna break
Okay.
because I could feel the bones in my face moving. with his effort, yo. Like,
Okay.
oh my god.
Are you still
And
sore
and
right
you
now?
know what? You know what like also like made it jump too? Right before it started, they just handed me the fucking waiver that said possible complications from the surgery may include permanent loss of use of your tongue, additional broken teeth. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Right
Like
before it
literally, he's
starts,
like,
you just
yeah,
gotta
just
sign
sign
here, bro.
this, and I'm just like, oh my god, yeah.
So what was
I
your
I
response?
was
Did you
very
freeze?
afraid. I froze,
You
man.
froze. You
I
didn't
was
fawn?
frozen
You
and
didn't
I
fawn him,
froze.
dude?
Nah, man. He kept
You
asking me, "Are
didn't
you
find him,
okay?"
man. Okay.
He kept asking me,
That's
"Yo, are you okay?" And I would just do this.
Oh yeah? Oh, you shake? Or you're
I'd just
saying
be like, "I'm
this?
not. I'm okay, but I'm
Oh.
not okay."
Did you cry?
Because I could hear my teeth breaking, bro.
Did you cry?
It's like
Oh
I
man.
think tears did drop, but I think they were tears of pain.
Of pain? Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, tears of pain, man.
Are you
Oh,
still sore now?
a little bit, but it's not
Yeah,
nearly
like
as
you,
bad as
yeah.
it was. Oh, jeez, that
Yeah.
was.
I'm trying to think if there
But
Yeah.
was
you
a
know,
time.
but you know what gave me extra courage? You want to know the more fucked up, deeper, darker link? So like a couple weeks ago, I read a story about this one creep in like the Mississauga area who like sexually assaulted this like 45-year-old woman and then this like 16-year-old girl. So I was like, oh shit, he's going to jail because they caught him, right? And so just out of random like curiosity, I was like, yo, what happens to rapists in jail? Yo, I found this fucking thread from like the early 2000s of inmates that went into extreme graphic detail about how they would get raped in jail by like multiple men. And I read the shit. I made the mistake of reading the shit one morning, and it fucked up my entire day, son. So while I was on the fucking dentist bench, getting my mouth almost
Is that
broken,
when
I
you're
was like,
digging?
well, at least I'm not in jail with four men that are about to enter my cell and say, hey man, we want some ass. That's how I rationalized my fear.
So what
That's
we
the
need
end
to
of
be
my
careful
story.
of is saying certain words on stream, just so you know.
Such as
That word you used, we gotta be careful not to. Even if we're using it in terms of just context of example, we gotta like either change. Anyway, it's fine, but everyone
the
knows what we're talking
What, the
about
yeah
R
here.
word?
But
Is that what it was? The
yeah.
R
yeah,
word?
yeah, yeah. There's certain algorithms
Oh
where
oh
AI will just find that, and then it's like they think it's flagged or like not safe or something like
Let's
that.
call it
So
Randy.
oh gotcha. Oh, I thought oh yeah the
yeah, the
R
R word.
hard
Yeah,
R
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
hard
well.
R.
In any case, it's fine now.
Yeah. So yeah. End of story.
Okay. Okay, so
That's what kept me sane.
that was your last. Okay, I'm trying to think of like though like besides road when I felt like actually in danger. Um, maybe turbulence in an airplane. When it was really rough.
Oh
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it was ever like in a doctor's office or, like I there's fear of like pain and like injury, but not death.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about like
mm.
death fear. But yeah, Tom, you had an example. You said high school.
Yeah. In like senior year, there was kind of like there was a fucking,
Oh, I just
party
remembered.
that we were all supposed to go to. So two of my friends came to my house, and I said, "Where's the rest of the boys?" There was three boys missing specifically, but I didn't think much of it at the time. Like, oh yeah, they're gonna meet us there. I said, all right, and they said, all right, we'll go to the party. Okay, fuck, how are we gonna get there? We'll walk. I'm like, that's cool. And then they said, yeah, but we'll walk through the forest because the party was on the other
Huh.
side of about 20-minute walk. But if we cut to the forest, cut that in half. It was about a 30-minute walk. If we cut to the forest, hey, cut it in half. It was Halloween. That's what it was. Fucking Halloween weekend.
Okay.
So fuck. We were walking through this forest, and I'm all excited, just talking to myself. Like, yeah, man, we're gonna drink, we're gonna pick up, women and shit, and like, blah blah blah. And my two friends are like not even noticing that they're slowing down. I'm like, man, and my buddy's like, hold on a second. I'm like, what? Like, fuck, let's go, man, let's go. And then out of nowhere, three guys jump out of the fucking bushes and just
Oh
scream like,
shit.
oh! They fucking run. I'm running, and fuck, man. I ended up in a dead end spot where I couldn't cross. I'm like, oh fuck.
Oh shit.
And I swear to God, man, I didn't know what the fuck's gonna happen. They tied me up, dude. They fucking tied me up.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
Was this a prank?
Yeah, they
Like, what
tied
is
me
this?
up.
Like,
Well, I didn't know that at the fucking
oh, it
time.
wasn't a prank. Okay. Oh,
They
okay. Well, you
fucking-
thought it was real. Okay, got
They,
it.
they
Yeah.
tied me up at the time. I thought I was. They tied me up, man, and they didn't physically beat me or any of that.
Yeah.
But at the time, they fucking cared. They tied me up, man, and then they tied up my feet, and then I'm like fucking, going in, and they put a blindfold over my head.
Oh shit.
Dude, that sounds
That's
traumatizing right now.
fucked
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is grade
that's
12.
fucked up.
I
And then
hear
what
some
happened was,
PTSD right now.
as they were walking, the blind kind of came off like that, so I kind of saw, and I saw my buddy's fucking shoes. I'm like, fuck you, Wes. Like, what the fuck? It's not Wes, and I can hear his fucking voice. I'm like, oh my! I never been so scared in my life. They fucking because that's where they let me go in the van. I'm like, you fucker, and I sat there frozen the whole time because they said, "Oh, we're just kidding, you
Frozen
motherfucker. Let's fuck up the
Oh
legs now."
my
And I'm not even talking.
That's
I was
fucked
fucking
up.
scared shitless. I wanted to go home.
Okay.
I wanted to go
Oh,
fucking
man.
home, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
man.
are
I
not
thought I was
my
gonna
friends
die.
anymore.
I thought I was gonna fucking die.
I'm
That
breaking up
sounds-
with those
Man, yeah,
friends.
Yeah, those are not
Yeah.
my friends no more. Are you still friends with them
Yeah,
after?
they're
Or
my
what?
friends before. I know. I won't name the five friends, but I know. Like you assholes,
You-
man. That scared the shit. I think
you-
I pissed myself.
You forgave them?
Oh Jesus.
You forgave them?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I forgave him after. I was still but
Were
I
they?
don't know why the fuck. I think I was getting a little too cocky back in the day then about everything. They had to get back at me or something. But man, I swear
Oh,
to God,
that's what it
man.
was.
Yeah,
Long time.
I didn't want to go
Were they-
nowhere, man. I was in the back of it.
Were they longtime friends or fairly new friends?
Yeah.
Oh, long time.
No. These are the friends that I hung out with every day from, grade 8, from when I moved to London to all the way through high school.
Wow, that's mean. That's
Yeah.
That's like.
Yeah, I know, man. One of them was like my best friend and shit.
Yeah, I don't know if I could.
Fucking cocksucker.
Unless they maybe you sort of like, man,
Yeah.
I love getting scared, love horror flicks, man. Unless maybe you were like that or something, but
Fucking scared, man. They came out of the bushes, man. They ran out of the bushes, and it was kind of dark in the in the forest. And man, wow,
that's scary.
It was fun. I can still see it in my head.
I can see like especially if you're
yeah.
in that moment, you just think all of this is real. Like
Oh well, for sure. What?
I
Yeah,
actually.
that's when you
man.
got to pull out the hammer.
Oh yeah,
Oh, dude! Like, what if you,
Oh, yeah.
what if you didn't have the freeze response and you
Bro.
had a fight response? Like, if you
Gotta
had,
pull
let's
out
say,
I know.
your judo stuff already, and
Would've
you were
picked up a
already
log or something.
right. What if you like broke something of theirs without knowing who you were fighting?
So you got to pull out the hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't
Oh,
training then in
shit.
martial arts at the time. Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
No, they
But,
could have been.
shit.
They were playing with danger there too, because like if your response was anything but that, like it could have been ugly. Like what if you picked up like
Probably.
a stick
The
or
hammer.
something? Yeah, something from you just start swinging and whatever. Like I'm like a
Yeah.
big
That was the
weaponized
prequel
kind
of the fake prank that could have went wrong, man. Yeah. That could have. But
So
yep, that was the last time I was physically scared.
I'm reminded now of I don't know if it actually technically counts, but like so I took some substance that made me very anxious, let's say, and it got to a point where this chemical response to this substance made me question reality for about 30 hours.
Oh shit.
And I had a legitimate fear, like really, that I was never gonna go back to normal. Like I thought I was gonna be stuck that way for the rest of my life, and I was actually really scared. And I don't know if it was
You're wicked.
afraid of dying, but well, that's the thing. I was still functional, dude. Like I was still talking and moving and walking and like physically, like I was still snowboarding at the time, and I was like eating and. But when I lay in bed, I was like, "Is this still a dream? Like, is this actual reality? Am I gonna be? This isn't real. Like, I'm stuck in this whatever thing." And it lasted for over 30 hours, 36 hours
Jeez.
actually.
That is scary. I mean, that's kind of
Like a
parallel to
massive
death
trip.
because it's like you're absent from real life.
Yeah, Well, I didn't
you
feel like
know,
I had
and you're
control. I felt basically I had no control of like anything, and I am a control freak kind of, so that makes sense in a way.
yeah, yeah, man. Trips are scary, yo.
I
So they can,
mean,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
like I mean, a
They
lot
can
of the
get
times
scary,
when you're,
but
let's say, in that mind, if you're
they
not
can get
prepared for it, man, yeah, you could be like,
Yeah, I'm
whoa,
never doing it again. Because one
yeah,
time was
they
yeah,
can
enough.
get.
One time was
That's why you
enough.
gotta. That's why you gotta pull out the hammer.
No, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. Start, might be your friends. Okay, so okay, we've kind of discussed fear in the sense of like just the survival mechanism in ourselves, right? Like, and that's simple. But we know fear is an emotion. We know that emotions are like automatic responses that we don't necessarily have control over. We're gonna feel the emotion or not. So what about all this other fear, like deeper into like maybe like human psyche that other animals don't fear? Like, let's say, yeah, what's a like fear of rejection, right? Like
Mm.
that takes it to another level of like, okay, well, you're not gonna die if you get rejected. Fear of being alone, you're not gonna die if you're alone. Fear of failure and like fear of like yeah, passing an exam. So why what is this? Is it actually fear? Is it something else? Like, what do you think?
I think it's like subcategories of the major types of fear. Because when you say fear of being alone, I think as social creatures, when we are alone, our ability to, have a decent life or a good life is severely, diminished because we don't have like a system, right? Um, so I think y- it would be easier for that one alone person to eventually die compared to like a group that was providing for itself type thing.
So you think it
Just
is a survival mechanism still?
yes, and maybe and so okay, because the ultimate fear of that would be like because we're talking about death, right? Because that's all still
Well,
related to.
yeah. What we were all talking about in the beginning, the very like kind of I would say the the fundamental fear is danger to our well being, like our like
like when
life.
you're
Okay,
talking about fear, yeah,
yeah.
is it physical or is it like I'm scared I'm gonna fail my test type fear? Like that's a fear too,
That's what I
or
mean.
I don't
That's
know. So,
I'm trying to get into deeper now. Outside of
Okay,
this
okay.
fear
So
of physical danger, why are we still afraid of other things? Like,
so that physical danger
but
is like
society
still tied
doesn't
into
train us
death.
with.
it's still tied to death. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
what I mean. Yeah.
because it's like harm and like injury. So
Yeah.
like m- maybe like being alone is like a slower, more existential like injury. You know what I mean? Which is why we want company and love from others, if that makes sense.
So,
Hmm.
so like I'm trying to tie. It sounds like failure is fearing something is because of a failure. Is that what it?
I guess what I'm
Is that
trying to
where
get
we?
now at, and I've never really thought about it in this context, is like, is that even fear? Is that even actual
Well,
fear?
they're
Like,
making it sound like these days because we're teaching people that to fail is bad and it's somebody else's
it,
problem, and
it,
then when it physically happens, oh,
it
you
almost
fucking, then people lose their head.
but it now the way I'm thinking about it, the way I'm saying it, it almost sounds like it's like it's like entitlement. It's like, oh, do you feel like you deserve to be with somebody, but now because you can't get
Exactly.
somebody, you're not getting what you want, so then you're gonna just say, I'm
That's
afraid of being alone or afraid of dying alone. But is it really fear though? Like, or is it just because like you're maybe lack of self confidence? I don't think
no
that's
thick skin,
fear.
buddy. No
Yeah, you know
thick
what I
Okay,
mean?
skin.
so maybe we should separate like because I think the dying alone thing is let's take it away from like relationship. Let's just take it to
Okay,
like
okay,
just connections between people.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like very broadly.
yeah.
So I think in that sense, like being alone is not a good thing. You want to have a community, right? You don't necessarily need like a partner or anything, but you want to have a system.
Maybe
Um,
the
and
majority, but there's still people out there who want to be isolate and they want to be like on their
and
own.
that's fine, which works for them, right?
Choice
But
already.
Okay,
Choice.
and yeah, that works for them. But I feel like human beings in general
okay.
is well, like we're group animals, so relationship is like a smaller, more nuanced context because that's like got
Yeah.
different variables.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's fear. Okay. We're looking at it still. I can see how you can still relate that to like a survival mechanism. What about fear of, yeah, like Tom's example of failing an exam, or fear of waking up late? I guess it's not really fear. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's fear too, just waking up late for an appointment. We're basically, because of, I think, our
Here to be
intelligence.
a job interview.
Yeah, like our intelligence, we've placed now certain things in our lives almost as important as life now.
Hmm.
Like, but because yeah, you're right. If you're missing an interview, potentially you can don't not get the job, not get paid, not get to pay your bills, then you die. Maybe it always ties down. You know what I mean? It ties really
Get
back
kicked out of
down
your
to
house, get homeless.
survival, right?
Well,
Like, if you miss that, business is a
don't
whole
you
thing on
find
itself. Loneliness. Oh, there's, yeah, yeah. These things.
a lot of the times now when you always hear, like, say, the fear of something, but then people will take that fear and then dish it out on somebody else. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you're hearing a lot of that. Like
Hmm.
like they went on a rampage because his wife divorced him or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Saying, or stupid things like that. You know,
Yeah, but
they end up deflecting that.
I don't see that as fear. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
you know,
but I don't think. I think that sometimes, remember what we used to always say to people, like, I go, Deji, and you got nothing to be scared of. It's just the dentist. We need more of that in life.
oh, you
We
don't
need
have to be
more of that.
scared. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
just
a
the dentist.
procedure. It's
Or
like the success rate
yeah,
of like whatever that is.
sometimes maybe we're missing that now these days. Yeah, don't be scared. It's nothing. Remember the good old days?
Well,
Sometimes,
I do
you
think
know.
there's a threshold too with like the pain of just pain. Like, we don't want to, like if you're cutting
Oh,
something and then you want
yeah.
to be careful with a knife because you don't want to cut there's fear of like cutting yourself even though you
Your
might not kill yourself.
penis off.
Yeah, what's that?
Don't want to cut your penis off.
Well, that. Why is it?
Your
Okay.
BBT.
So Mike did say something in chat. He said loneliness is a whole thing in itself. So, um, I know that there's people who are afraid, like actually being afraid of being alone, like being alone in like a maybe a quiet, dark space. People actually get scared of something there. Maybe that's more
Hmm.
phobia. Maybe that's something like irrational. But then
Yeah, I think that's a phobia.
there's the other fear of like being alone for like ever. I guess is the other, like,
Oh,
you know
Yeah, I know.
is that a
Like,
survivability
is it
thing?
a
solitary.
fear that you're scared to be alone, or
See,
are you more angry that you're alone?
well, see, okay, so I use me
I don't know.
as an example
Yeah,
here. I don't think I'm afraid of being alone, but I don't want to be alone, you know? And I feel like when everyone
yeah.
else says, "Oh, I'm afraid of being alone," or whatever, I don't really think they're actually afraid of it. Or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I
I think maybe our
Like, I'm not gonna
definition of
run
alone
away.
is a bit skewed.
It's a Yeah.
Maybe our definition of alone is a bit skewed, right? Because like
yeah,
we're
people
still
take
having interactions.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah,
still
yeah,
having
yeah, yeah,
interactions,
yeah, yeah.
even though we're maybe in one
Yeah, we
place.
have friendships
We're
and
still talking
family
to
or
people
whatever, right?
online,
Yeah, yeah,
phone calls, cell phones.
yeah.
I think like being alone, like solitary confinement, is like
Oh,
absolutely been
that's
detrimental
yeah, yeah.
in
That's
all
something else.
cases.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Unless you're like the Buddha or like the Dalai Lama
yeah,
or
I
something
mean,
like that.
there you go. Unless you have like a really like your mind is like completely serene, you need no interaction whatsoever, but you find like people that are like truly by themselves are like very different, or they go insane. So
Oh right,
maybe
like
that's like another
meditative.
extreme we could like look at. Yeah,
Okay, so
human beings, man.
Day just said in chat, autophobia or monophobia makes you feel extremely anxious when you're alone. This fear of being alone can affect your relationships, social life, and career. I think that specific thing he's talking about is the like, yeah, the irrational fear part where you're like, if you're in a space by yourself and you feel like you've got no other like humans around you, your life may not potentially be in danger at that instant, but the situation itself makes you scared and that's irrational. That doesn't make sense. And I think, yeah, we can't really directly compare that to someone who's saying that they are afraid of being alone in the relationship sense, not in like the physical situation environment sense. So I think what Day Day's talking about is somebody who just doesn't want to be by themselves in the dark in a space. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But then there's the deeper sense of, I think it's more like intellectual, because of like we're more advanced beings of having emotions involved and like relationships and communication and all that stuff, where people say, I'm afraid of ending up alone, I'm afraid of dying alone. That kind of statement, I don't necessarily think that's actually fear, though. I feel like that's probably tied something to do with like personal failure, or maybe self-confidence, or like self-esteem. Do you know what I mean? Because somebody who has a really strong sense of self confidence won't believe they'll end up alone, won't fear something that won't be possible in their mind. You know what I mean?
Okay, I see that. They have that mentality.
Yeah, if you feel like you're a shit
Yeah.
person and then you contribute nothing to the world, yeah, you'll be afraid that you're gonna die alone, because like you feel like no one's gonna want you.
Maybe
That's kind of
that's a
like
good
a
point.
thing of like, I think, more of a self confidence, lack of self confidence, than an actual rational fear of like your
Okay,
survival. You know what I mean?
yeah, I see what you mean. Like both of their
So
approaches to the
maybe
same situation.
rationalizing something as a fear makes it easier for us to cope it,
To feel
Deal with it. Yeah.
well,
even
it's
though
like we're being soft on ourselves. We're not being hard on ourselves, where I feel like we should
yeah,
be
yeah,
hard on ourselves.
yeah.
Mike's saying here, not wanting to be alone can be seen as fearing being alone. No, you're saying it's not a fear, but what makes it not a fear of being alone? Oh, so it's more of an emotional state, not a physical state of being alone. Dede, so what you define autophobia, monophobia? In the beginning, I don't think you were here at the pod yet. We were saying that there's two kinds of fears. The basic of fear is rational, and it's like a response to something that we feel it puts us in danger. So our brains trigger this thing in our brain that makes us feel the emotion of fear because of danger. But when you are phobic of something, like any kind of phobia that makes you afraid of something, that is irrational. That's not an emotional response. That is an actual, just like traumatic, like, I don't know, a physical response, as you said, Deji, when you were like tryptophobia, right? With you get like this physical thing that makes you sick when you see tryptophobia.
It's fucking weird,
So
man. Yeah.
any phobia, apparently, when I looked it up earlier, is irrational. It's an automatic response.
Oh shit.
So,
Who's here?
so Mike's asking me, in terms of not wanting to be alone can be seen as fearing being alone. No, I'm just saying there's two kinds of, when you say not being alone. There's two ways of taking that. Physically being alone, like in a space, environmental, versus relationship being alone. And what I'm saying is, when people, oh, what was that? Someone, okay. When someone is saying they are afraid of being alone relationship wise, or that they're not going to have a partner in their life, not going to have a family or things like that, I don't think that is because of a danger response to their survival. It's just not getting what you want. It's like maybe when you're a child and you want to get, a PS5 for Christmas, but then you're afraid your parents are going to get you clothes. Or something like that. You know what I mean? Like a child can
That's not that.
a child could be afraid, but
Yeah.
it's like it's not
Sure.
rational. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's a childish thing to fear being alone or something like that, but I don't know. I'm trying to understand it myself too, because I used to look at it like fear. Many tiers of levels of what fear could be, but the way we've looked up all our definitions was all about danger and survival. So you can
That would
rationalize
make the
being
most sense.
lonely is a danger response. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, lonely is a danger response. Feeling lonely, being lonely, is a danger response. What do you guys think?
Oh,
Is
being
it
being lonely is a danger. Is a response to danger.
people who
Is that what
have
that means?
is what he's saying is people who have that loneliness feeling seek relationships and communities to survive. Yeah, but dude,
Yeah.
I'm talking about when someone, let's say, has a family, has friends, but they're afraid of not having a partner, like being alone in that sense of like, but they have their friends and family still, so they're still getting communities and the other relationships to survive, but they're not getting their girl, or they're not getting their man, they're not getting a wife or a husband. That kind of fear. When you hear people say that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying to Mike right now. Do you
Yeah,
guys?
it's more of like a ideal that's
Yeah, it's
not,
like I want
I
this, but I
guess, being.
can't get it. And you know, it's like kind of whiny,
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
like a
think it
whiny
should be a
concept.
fear. I don't.
I don't
Yeah, I don't
know.
think it should be a fear, but as you
It could be a
stated, it
goal.
is a fear. Like that, people explain it as a fear of being alone, but I don't think it should be.
Okay,
Or maybe, okay,
I
so
can
maybe
see it
that's the
as a
fear of a
goal.
failed goal.
Yeah, I see that. I can see that. Like maybe an expectation of yourself to achieve something, hopefully in your own capacity, not having to rely on someone else for it, and then failing to do that. Because it's on you,
Yeah,
really. I think,
yeah.
right? Like it's not someone
Okay,
else,
so like,
anyone else's fault. Like those incels when they, well, is that fear for incels?
Yeah, those
Is that fear?
incels are messed up.
Is that fear though? The
No, I think it's.
they've accepted that they
I think it's
can't,
great
right?
for them.
Let's see. Alone in
It's
an
great.
intimate
incels.
romantic relation specifically. I don't know if that can be
Well,
considered as fear. Why wouldn't it be considered a fear? Yeah,
like,
this is what we're trying to figure out right now.
is that what it's called? Involuntary celibacy.
Involuntary
Hmm. It was
celibacy.
Involuntary
started by a
celibate.
woman. Did you know it was
Really?
started by
Oh,
a
the
woman?
term?
Maybe they just have
Hmm.
high standards. Maybe they gotta
It
lower the
started by
bar
a
a little
woman,
bit.
man. And then like the incels now co-opted it.
Yeah,
It
they.
was actually supposed to be like a very neutral. Hey, we're some like kids on campus. We can't really. We're awkward. We can't really like find relationships. Let's make like a little club or whatever, and just like get to know each other. And then like all the people that did all the fuck shit co-opted it, which is kind of sad. But yeah, shit happens, man.
So yeah, Mike's using the example of evolution that people who have that fear seek the relationship and then make babies. Those without the fear die alone. Yeah, I don't think you need the fear to find a relationship though. They don't reproduce. The ones with fear pass that on. No, but then you can
Production.
have someone who's not afraid of being alone and still end up with somebody because they're, strong individuals, or like favorable individuals where they're like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I feel like we're kind of lost in this. I think it is a very more complex subject with humans, because we our social constructs are way more complex than like just the regular animal kingdom of survival. So to me, fear is more of not wanting to face that particular situation. That's Day Day saying that. I mean, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna reach the actual conclusion of this, because we don't have any kind of like scientific test or proof for it. Um, but okay, I mean, it's good. It's good to know that we could still we have still opposing kind of views of this particular scenario of like fearing being alone. I'm attributing more of that as like someone's view in themselves, self evaluation of like failure, of like not getting what they want ideally, and then when it feels like it's out of their control, where they're no longer the ones being able to build themselves to be wanted, or be like sought after, or where you can find a partner, where you can feel confident you can find a partner, but you reach a point where you're like, man, I can't find a partner, like I can't find somebody, and then therefore that reaches them to say, I'm afraid of dying alone. That is a direct result first of not feeling like confident in yourself enough. Like you have to surrender to it first before your fear comes, because unless you if you still feel good about yourself, like, man, I got a lot to give. I'm a successful person. I take care of myself, or I'm a very caring person. Why would that fear even come? That fear
So,
won't come unless that's not there, right? So go ahead, Deji.
I was gonna, I guess like that too can be true, and so can the fact that you will still end up alone.
Yeah,
Because that does
but you
exist. So I guess like,
but you wouldn't fear it. That's the difference. You can die alone, but you wouldn't be afraid of it. You know what I'm saying? I can die alone. I don't think I'd be afraid of dying alone. I don't want to die alone,
It's not the end of the
but I
world,
feel
right?
like
Not the end of the world.
I can die
Yeah.
alone and not be afraid of it. I wouldn't say that I have a rational fear of dying alone, not married with kids or whatever like that. I want to have a partner and have kids and a family and legacy, but I'm not afraid of not having that if it doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Fear is an involuntary
Yeah.
emotion. It's how you feel, it's how you deal with it after. Of course, it'd be nice if we didn't have it. Well, yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Well, there's a rational one and irrational. What this sounds like to me is irrational. It's versus the rational side. Involuntary, yeah, all emotions are involuntary. Like, they happen whether you want them or not. It's just if it makes sense or not, I guess. But directly with fear is something in your brain about the, as Deji said, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. That whole thing is really just survivability, like your reaction to like danger to your life or like well-being. I think the emotional sense of like not feeling loved or like whatever, I think that's something else. That's just my opinion, obviously, guys. Like, no, I'm not trying to prove anybody wrong here. This is just how I've come to think about it at this particular scenario. Anyway, so
Yeah.
it's been an hour. I think we've come a little far from what Tyson was saying about opposite of love is fear. I personally think in relationship sense, the opposite of love is just the absence of it. So like indifference. You can still hate somebody and love them at the same time. Like in relationships, like in humans. But loneliness is a whole other podcast. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we talked about loneliness a lot too in these podcasts, but we can always revisit that. Related to fear though. Anyway, did you have anything else you want to say?
Segue in the next
yeah,
week.
I just like to say, anytime you have a fear, you just gotta go inside the ring and you just gotta knock it down. You gotta be invincible. You gotta tear his heart out. I don't want you guys out here being afraid. Don't be afraid of nothing. If it put fear in your heart, that mean it ain't shit. All your challenges, you gotta go out there and punch that shit in the face. You know what I mean? Everybody got a plan till they get punched in the face. All right, don't be afraid. It's Mike.
This is my peace out. All right, guys. There you have it. The legend himself, the Iron.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it was a fun one. This is cool. We'll see you hopefully next Thursday again on next BrackCast. But thanks, guys, for coming to chat and discussing. We'll see you next time. Peace out, guys. Perfect way to end it. Thanks for watching.
That's it.